If you wanted to make us safe, pass gun reforms. Stop cutting Medicaid. Stop cutting cancer research. Stop cutting funds for veterans. That is what will make our city safe.
Yes, thank you. I yield back.
And you just heard Boston Mayor Michelle Wu pushing back against congressional lawmakers during today's hearing on sanctuary cities. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Priscilla Casper.
And I'm Colton Bradford. Now, this hearing, it lasted several hours. It featured mayors from 4 different U.S. cities, and it got people here in Boston motivated on both sides of the argument. Dueling rallies took place outside City Hall today in response to that testimony. Our Oscar Margain is going to have that part in our team coverage coming up in just a moment.
But first, we do want to go to our NBC 10 political reporter, Matt Pritchard. He's joining us live there in Washington, D.C. Matt, you sat in on today's hearings. What are your takeaways?
And Priscilla, Colton, this was a lengthy hearing, and Mayor Michelle Wu, she kept her answers short, succinct, and to the point as she navigated the different perspectives from congressional lawmakers here on Capitol Hill. Under the bright lights of D.C.
To every one of my neighbors back in Boston, know this. You belong here. Boston es tu hogar. Boston c'est la calle.
Boston Mayor Michelle Wu standing by her policies.
Would you turn this criminal over to ICE?
Whenever there's a criminal warrant, Boston police enforce that.
Will you turn that criminal over to ICE?
We follow the laws. And we make sure.
With baby Mira in tow, Boston's top executives sitting shoulder to shoulder with other big sanctuary city mayors, the committee taking 2 breaks, allowing Mayor Wu to nurse.
Glad to be getting back on the plane and going home to Boston.
Are you less optimistic that federal help is on the way after hearing how Republicans are sort of framing Boston?
The responsibility of us at the local level is to try to do whatever it takes, even if that involves picking up the pieces of failed federal policies.
Now back in the hearing room.
Please pass comprehensive immigration law.
Wu still calling for action. Bay Staters on the panel backing her request.
That's really what we need to do here. That's what's causing this tension.
This hearing is helpful, especially when Mayor Wu is pushing back so effectively.
But even with that support,
we've got a problem. The criminal illegals are going to be deported.
Republicans emphasizing the need to strip away sanctuary policies.
If you wanted to make us safe, pass gun reforms. Stop cutting Medicaid.
Mayor Wu was also asked about that $650,000 preparation price tag and whether or not it was worth it by the time this hearing was all said and done. She told us they were just trying to make sure they were prepared for everything, that they took this seriously, and that they were getting the committee what they required here on Capitol Hill. Guys, back to you.
All right, Matt, thank you. We turn now back to Boston, where both supporters and critics of Mayor Wu rallied outside of City Hall today. Our NBC 10's Oscar Margain picking up our team coverage from there tonight. Oscar.
Yeah, these rallies are basically a response to Boston's increasing presence under the national spotlight on the subject of immigration. Now, today, those in favor of the president's policies and those defending the city's stance trying to drown each other out. A few dozen versus a few hundred, those against sanctuary city policies and those in favor, clashing and dueling rallies in front of Boston City Hall Wednesday.
We have a lot of chaos and disorder right now.
No matter how they spin it, Boston remains the safest major city in America. USA! USA!
Both sides are chanting opposing messages, but one message that seems to be shared is a chant for USA.
This country was built on immigrants. We're not against immigrants. We're against people coming here illegally and taking advantage of our country and our systems and committing crimes and hurting people.
The things that people fear most is not even just ICE, but everyday folks. They hear this message that immigrants can be a target.
The planned rallies took place while Mayor Wu had confrontations of her own on Capitol Hill.
In the city of Boston, how much did you spend?
We don't ask about immigration status and delivering city
services. You don't ask about how much money the city of Boston has spent on illegal immigration? Are you out of your mind?
Clinical professor of law Rajini Shah explains how the 4 mayors testifying before the Oversight Committee defended their sanctuary policy.
What they're trying to do is follow their own state and municipal laws and trying to create communities of inclusiveness, trying to create communities where people trust the police and will go to the police.
The Suffolk University professor argues that to improve safety, the focus should not be on immigrants.
If we're talking about is safety, let's really talk about policies and not talk about people.
And while the city defends its immigrant sanctuary policies, rally-goers here on both sides really waiting to see when the president's border czar will make it to Boston and bring hell, as he stated. Reporting live outside of Boston City Hall, Oscar Margain, NBC 10 Boston.